Hello everyone! Now we are learning TOEFL structure and the topic is sentences with multiple clauses. The next strategy of TOEFL structure is about noun clause. A noun clause is a clause that functions as a noun. Because the noun clause is a noun, it is used in a sentence as either an object of a verb, an object of a preposition, or the subject of the sentence. For example, I do not remember when it happened. The noun clause when it happened is the object of a verb do not remember. The second example, I'm concerned about what he did. The noun clause what he did is the object of a preposition about. The third example, what she said is really important. The noun clause what she said is the subject of this sentence. What she said is really important. Let's look at the details of this sentence. I do not remember when it happened. In this sentence, there are two clauses. The first is I do not remember. I as the subject, do not remember as the verb. The second clause is when it happened. This clause begins with the noun clause connector when, followed by it as the subject and happened as the verb. This noun clause is the object of the verb do not remember. The second sentence, what she said is really important. In this sentence, the subject is in the form of noun clause, what she said, consists of what as the noun clause connector, followed by she as the subject and said as the verb. The main verb of this sentence is the to be is. So, the complete sentence is what she said is really important. The noun clause connectors that we can use in the sentence are what, when, where, why, how, whatever, whenever, whether, if, that. Noun clause connector can also be the subject of the clause at the same time. For example, I know what happened. In this sentence, the noun clause what happened is the object of the verb know. The noun clause what happened consists of what as the noun clause connector and also the subject, followed by the verb happened. The second example, we are concerned about who will finish the project. The noun clause who will finish the project is the object of the preposition about. The noun clause who will finish the project consists of who as the noun clause connector and also the subject, followed by the verb will finish. The third, whoever is coming to the party should bring a gift. In this sentence, the subject is in the form of noun clause, whoever is coming to the party, and then followed by the main verb should bring. The noun clause whoever is coming to the party consists of whoever as the noun clause connector and also the subject, followed by the verb is coming. The noun clause connectors, which can also be used as the subjects, are who, whoever, what, whatever, which, whichever. Let's discuss the exercise. Scientists are now beginning to conduct experiments on blah 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 to trigger different sorts of health risks. This sentence has two clauses. The first clause is scientists are now beginning to conduct experiments. The second clause is a kind of noun clause as the object of preposition on. That is the verb of the noun clause trigger. So, let's complete this sentence by choosing one of the options. A. Noise pollution can. Incorrect, because there is no noun clause connector. B. That noise pollution. Incorrect, because after the subject noise pollution should be followed by the verb triggers. C. How noise pollution. Incorrect, the same reason as B. D. How noise pollution can. The correct answer, because there is noun clause connector how followed by the subject noise pollution and the correct structure of the verb can trigger. So, the complete sentence is, scientists are now beginning to conduct experiments on how noise pollution can trigger different sorts of health risks. The next strategy in TOEFL structure is adjective clause. An adjective clause is a clause that describes a noun. For example, my sister is reading the book that I bought yesterday. The clause that I bought yesterday is an adjective clause which describes the noun the book. The second example, the novel that she wrote is really interesting. In this sentence, the clause that she wrote is the adjective clause which describes the noun the novel. Let's look at the details of this sentence. My sister is reading the book that I bought yesterday. In this sentence, there are two clauses. The first, my sister is reading the book. The second, that I bought yesterday. The clause that I bought yesterday is the adjective clause which describes the noun the book. The adjective clause consists of that as the adjective clause connector, followed by I bought, I as the subject and bought as the verb. The second sentence, the novel that she wrote is really interesting. In this sentence, there are two clauses. The main clause is, the novel is really interesting. The second clause, that she wrote. The clause that she wrote is the adjective clause which describes the noun the novel. The adjective clause consists of that as the adjective clause connector, followed by she wrote, she as the subject and wrote as the verb. The adjective clause connectors are whom for people, which for things, that can be for people and things. Adjective clause connector can also be the subject of the clause at the same time. For example, she needs a secretary who types fast. In this sentence, the adjective clause who types fast describes the noun a secretary. The adjective clause consists of who as the adjective clause connector and also the subject, followed by the verb types. The second example, the girl who is sitting in front of me is a manager. In this sentence, the adjective clause who is sitting in front of me describes the noun the girl. The adjective clause consists of who as the adjective clause connector and also the subject, followed by verb is sitting. The adjective clause connectors which can be used as the subjects are who for people, which for things, that can be for people or things. Let's have the exercise. At the end of the 19th century, Alfred Binet developed a test for measuring intelligence, blah blah blah, served as the basis of modern IQ tests. This sentence has two clauses. The first clause is, Alfred Binet developed a test for measuring intelligence. The second clause can be seen from the verb served. So, the second clause is a kind of adjective clause which describes the noun a test. A. Has, incorrect, because there is no adjective clause connector. B. It has, incorrect, because there is no adjective clause connector. C. And, incorrect, because this is kind of coordinating conjunction. D. Which has, the correct answer, because this is the correct structure of adjective clause. After the adjective clause connector which and also the subject, it is followed by the verb has served. So, the complete sentence is, at the end of the 19th century, Alfred Binet developed a test for measuring intelligence which has served as the basis of modern IQ tests.